Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Know It All Talk Ball podcast. Once again, hosted by myself and my good friend Jason. How you doing, Jason?
What's up? I'm doing well. I'm doing really well.
Yep, again on the couch.
Again on the couch. Best
week.
place to be on a whatever we don't really have a schedule for planning these things,
but
once a week.
How's life outside football?
It's pretty average. It's great. It's great.
Kind of stuck.
Anyway, episode 4. Let's give you the rundown of what we're gonna do. So first we're going to have our little review of the week that has been. We've got Liverpool, Man City. I know he's just dying to talk about that one. And then ElClásico. You can decide for yourself which one is bigger out of those two games. And then we're going to look at the Ballon d'Or, which presented this week. Congratulations, Karim Benzema, if you're watching this.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah. I mean, what else does he do?
He messaged me the other day, like, I can't wait for the next episode to drop.
Those guys really know it all about balls, you know? Anyway, we're going to have a quick chat about this year's Ballon d'Or, and then we're going to look at our top 3 best players to never have won the Ballon d'Or.
Within the 2000s.
Within the 2000s, yeah. And then we're going to do a little preview on 2 games, which will be Chelsea, Manchester United. And we're going to go to a league that we haven't been to yet, which is going to be Roma versus Napoli in Serie A. So, a lot to get through. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
All right, so our first segment, our reactions from the games that we previewed. Let's start with ElClásico. That was the first game of the weekend that we watched together.
By a couple hours. Yeah, we watched both of these games together.
Yeah.
It was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it was a good Sunday for sports.
Yeah, a great day for sports, yeah.
But, so let's start with ElClásico. What did you think? First reaction you had for ElClásico?
For starters, I thought it was a really weird game. The way
it was both fun, but not.
Yeah,
if that
there was
makes
a
any
big
sense?
lull, I think, from about the 55-minute mark to about the 75th minute, where there wasn't Barcelona didn't have the quality to break through.
No.
And Real were just sort of sitting back and waiting for their opportunities, which obviously did come in the end. But yeah, takeaways from this: again, Barca not able to bring it on the big occasion, and again, Real bringing it on a day when they weren't really the better team either.
I would actually disagree with that.
Okay.
I think that if you look at just the stats, like the shots, the possession, the expected goals, Barcelona were better on all facets.
Yeah.
But I think Real Madrid literally played their game. Like, they played their game so well.
To perfection, that's true.
Yeah, of course there were chances. Like, Lewandowski missed an absolute sitter. And personally, I think he had an awful first ElClásico to open his career for Barcelona. Like, he missed that wide open chance. We saw the ball and we both thought it was in, and then it just went up.
And that was at 1-0 down.
And that was at 1. That would have been huge. That would have been huge. And then he also took, I think, a free kick that hit the wall.
Yeah.
Like, he was out of sorts, but I would say the whole Barcelona attack in general was out of sorts.
Yeah, because they would seem to be getting a lot of space, but the final ball, that last pass or two to really unlock the defense, they just did not have.
And maybe that's just time. Like, maybe if the next ElClásico, if Rafinha, Dembele also started, right? It was Dembele, Lewandowski, Rafinha, right? I think that's who Xavi tends to go for.
Wasn't Ferran Torres?
Did he come on? And he scored, right? Yeah, Ferran Torres
He did score, but
City legend, by the way, Ferran Torres.
Rafinha needs to work on his final ball. Quite a bit. He doesn't quite. And I think that they might have a tendency in a team like this to look for Lewandowski in place for anyone else. Because if you look at there was a chance where it was actually Sergio Roberto. I rewatched the highlights today because I was like, I want to
prep. We put in the work.
We put an effort.
We put in the work.
But he's got ages of time to get the cross in. You've got Dembele running to the near post, and Lewandowski in the middle. But you don't see Pedri, who's just dropped off in an absolute load of space.
Yeah.
But before we move on from ElClásico, I want to talk about the Barca defending.
Yeah,
which was
sus again, huh?
Terrible.
Very sus again.
It's even worse on second rewatching.
Yeah?
It's the goals. You've got Sergio Busquets failing to bring down Toni Kroos, who plays. It was an amazing ball.
Yeah.
But you've also got Sergi Roberto there, ball watching Toni Kroos and Sergi Roberto, Toni Kroos and Sergi Busquets going at it. And before you know it, the ball's in behind. And once Vinny Jr.'s in behind, it's over.
And we saw that often in the game where Vinny Jr. or Benzema or I think Valverde play right winger. Whenever they would attack, you could just see that the defense was like backing off. Like I think it was the Valverde's goal, right? Where Busquets just let him walk all the way. He let Vinicius Jr. just walk straight into him, into the box. Then he passed the ball and Valverde scored.
Yeah, it was Valverde when he receives the ball for that goal. He doesn't. There's not a Barca player for 10 meters.
No, and I think that's got to do with Busquets too. Like just dropping off physically, he's not the same player. He can't track back as much. Like you can't ask him that much. Fede Valverde, on the other hand, insane form. He's so good at the moment.
That finish was.
I don't know if you saw, but Toni Kroos tweeted after the game, Fede Valverde top 3 in the world right now.
In terms of midfielders,
I mean, like in his position, I think it's hard to argue. He was La Liga's Player of the Month. He's on 4 goals. He's playing out of his.
Would you call him a box-to-box midfielder?
I think so, right? I think he's got more of a tendency to attack than defend, but I think he's still a good defender. I don't really know his statistics, like his defending statistics, but he was La Liga Player of the Month last month in September, and I think as a center midfielder, that's insane to be Player of the Month. Like you don't really see that often. But yeah, overall, I mean, I predicted Madrid to win 2-0, so I'm glad
I predicted a draw.
You did 1-1. I checked. Yeah. And also, for all this Xavi revolution, he's now the manager with the worst winning percentage after 50 games in Barcelona. I don't know if it was history or the last 5. He's got less win percentage than Ronald Koeman.
How though? They're doing really well in the league still.
I think it's like, I don't know how, because he's on like 52% winning percentage, which is really
like
low.
I've seen him win a lot of games.
Me too, but then when I saw that stat, I couldn't believe it, because Ronald Koeman, I mean, he's on 56. It's not like it's like a huge gap, but still, even Kike Setien was on like 60, and he was awful for Barcelona. Yeah. So Xavi maybe not the manager we thought.
Winning percentages can surprise you from time to time, because I think a while back I looked at the United winning percentages of the managers, because I was like, when was the last time we had a decent manager? And I mean, Ole was actually lower than like the last 3 or 4 that we had.
I guess he was also there for the longest time. Maybe.
Jose has been has had the highest winning percentage since.
That makes sense. Alex. I mean, you guys came second that year. But anyways, enough about United. ElClásico, good game, not that crazy as we thought, or as we hoped. So, but yeah, big up Real Madrid and big up Benzema, who scored, and then immediately the next day went to win the Ballon d'Or. So that's
good week for Benzema.
Baller stuff. Let's get into Liverpool-Man City.
Liverpool-Man City. So I want to hear your thoughts on this first, because you are a Man City fan. I loved watching the game.
You celebrated it like United won.
Yeah, because I know as a United fan, I'm meant to hate Liverpool, and I'm meant to hate City as well. But in the time that I've been a United fan, Liverpool weren't really there.
Yeah, until the last.
And then, so City were our main rivals, and then we became shit.
Yeah.
so now City's still great, and Liverpool's sort of challenging them.
And you're still shit.
And we still suck. But I think those.
Suck. You guys are getting better.
We get in there. But what were your thoughts on the game?
Honestly, obviously, I'm upset as a City fan, but genuinely, what a game of football, huh? Such a good game of football.
For a 1-0?
Exactly, right? Yeah. It was so fun. Such a good game.
Intense. This man was up and down. If you were on the touchline, it would have been,
I would have been
you would have been
Pep.
more animated than Pep and Jurgen
It was all over the place.
But yeah, it had everything. It was great.
Super entertaining. I thought Liverpool really stepped it up. I thought that, overall as a team, Liverpool... the way that I saw it was, if Liverpool won that game, they deserve it. If City win that game, they deserve it. If it's a draw, they deserve it. Every result was fair. Cancelo, of course, made a huge mistake, but actually I think that the reason why we lost the game is because Pep Guardiola did a very Pep Guardiola thing, and he just outthought the fuck out of the team. He always does this. We've been playing 4-3-3 the whole year. We've been playing with Grealish, Haaland, Foden. It's clearly worked. We scored 6 past United. We've scored so many goals. against Liverpool at Anfield decides to play 3-4-3 with Foden as a right wing back, like
And Bernardo Silva playing
everywhere.
position on the
Gundogan playing
pitch.
as a 10 next to De Bruyne, Bernardo next to Rodri. Like, of course, I guess it worked to some extent because we only lost 1-0. But Foden is having his best season in terms of end product. Like, he's never scored so many goals to start a year. Why are you playing him at right wing back? And like, or left wing back? No, sorry, left wing back because Cancelo play right wing back. But what are you doing? Like, just stop overthinking and play the way that we play and have been annihilating teams. Like, also he wanted to play Haaland dropping so much. Like we kept mentioning it that he kept getting deep, and it seemed like it was to draw either Thiago or Fabinho out of position or draw Van Dijk. But Liverpool kind of figured it out because towards the end you could see that Haaland would just drop back and no one would track him because his job there was to just dispose of the ball to the wings. I think Guardiola overthought it. He didn't make a sub until the 89th minute, man.
It's too late.
We have maybe the most talented squad in the world.
And the great squad depth as well.
With the depth, like not the starting 11, just the team as a whole is maybe the best in terms of talent in the world. And he didn't put anyone on until the 89th minute. Like, what is Julian Alvarez supposed to do in the 89th minute? Like, he's barely warmed up. Like, he's cold. Like, he's on the pitch. What's he going to do? Like, I think Pep lost us the game as he often does.
That's a big call. Pep lost us the game as he often does.
When we lose, it's because Guardiola. When we lose, it's because of Guardiola. He overthinks like crazy, man. Like, he wins us everything.
This man has got you like 4 Premier Leagues.
Oh, no, I love him. I love him. I'm going to name my son Josep. Like, my son's name is Josep Sierra. Like, there's no question about it. But the guy overthinks too much when it gets too crazy. I think that he just needs to slow it down a bit.
I think in comparison, I think Liverpool got their setup absolutely right. Because they're in a position where they're not able to control games like they have maybe the last 2 years. And they knew that going in. So they say, we'll sit back, we'll let City bring the ball to us. And they just sort of sat there and then hit them on the break. You saw multiple times the amount of space that Salah had.
He was good, huh? He had a good game.
He played all right. But Nunez... They could have cleaned you guys out 2 or 3-0.
We could have lost 3-0.
Yeah,
we could have lost 3-0.
He had a 3-on-1. He's got 2 players to his right, and he decides to shoot. And it's like you're trying to win the fans over, and you do that.
Yeah, and it's also not like he had, I don't know, it's not like somehow Fabinho and Henderson were making a run. It was Salah wide open, like the guy who scored the most Premier League goals in a season. And he doesn't pass him the ball.
It was, I saw, I was going mad at that point because I was like, how have you not? It was so obvious.
We could have gotten smashed. If Darwin played those 2 balls, we would have lost 3-0 and the game would have been way sadder. But, it is what it is. Football is like that sometimes. I'm not happy that we lost, but I'm also not, like, disappointed. Obviously, Liverpool were in bad form, but they're still Liverpool. Like, I can't. You can't. Just because they're 11th at the time doesn't mean that they're a bad team. So, it is what it is. We'll get them next time, hopefully.
That is all for our reactions for now, and we'll be back in a second with our Ballon d'Or talk. All right, welcome back. We're now going to talk about Karim Benzema winning the Ballon d'Or. Big props to him, first off.
Football won yesterday. Huh? Yeah. Thank God he won it.
Yeah, I really like the fact that I think Benzema's someone that, if you looked at him 5 years ago and you would have said this man's going to win a Ballon d'Or, I would have told you to piss off. Like,
I mean, he was always that player, always so good at football, but
living in someone else's
shadow. And honestly, I didn't expect Real Madrid or Benzema actually to fill in Ronaldo's shoes so well.
He's done incredibly well.
I thought that he was obviously still going to be good because he's an elite level striker, but to get to Ballon d'Or level, and also I think he's the oldest Ballon d'Or winner in 66 years, something like that. He won at age 36 or something like that, 35.
He's 36? I thought he was a little younger.
Me too. Until I found out.
Let's check. Let's fact check. No, but you keep going about.
Yeah. So I think he deserved it. Like the most clutch player. Maybe some of the most clutch performances I've ever seen in a Champions League. 34 years
34,
old.
well, he's 34 and 302 days. So he's
almost 35.
He's almost 35.
That
is, wow, that's quite old to win a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, he deserved it 100%. First Frenchman to win it since your favorite player, Zinedine Zidane. Yeah,
beat Mbappe to it. Had you said 2 years ago Mbappe is
that's
2 or 3
crazy.
years,
Actually,
beat Mbappe, beat all these young bucks, coming up, and still none of them have had a go at the Ballon d'Or. You've had Modric, you've had Benzema, you had Messi take another one.
Yeah,
and the other one who should have got it was Lewa, who was also 34 years old.
I think I saw also a stat on Twitter that said that the last, I think since 2014 or something like that, no player under 30 has won the Ballon d'Or.
2000 when?
14. So it's been like 7 years or something.
And then it would have just been Messi
and Ronaldo when they
yeah.
turned 30.
Yeah.
And they, I guess, were the last ones to win it before 30 too. But yeah, Benzema won. Congrats to him. I think Sadio Mane came second. That was props to him. He won the AFCON. Did really well with Liverpool. Kevin De Bruyne third.
I think they got it right this time.
Yeah. It also feels like really this is the first like Ballon d'Or that doesn't have like Messi and Ronaldo creeping about, because even the Modric one, I think everyone had a bit of a sour taste in their mouth about it. Like, not because either Messi or Ronaldo
could have definitely won that.
Ronaldo could have won that. Like, it was just also like, oh, this is kind of weird because they both had, like, Messi and Ronaldo both had bad World Cups, so we have to give it to the guy that made it to the final with Croatia, which is fair enough. But I don't think that, like, I think everybody yesterday was happy with the outcome that Karim Benzema won.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone, and also, he's so, his drip is just... The glasses, the haircut, the beard. Oh my God, the guy is
man
like.
got teed up.
Oh my God, that man is like. He was looking great. His suit. Oh, Benzema.
Very
what
fly.
a guy. What a guy. I love him.
Yeah, but one thing I didn't agree with was the trophy for the young. I forget what it's called.
The Copa.
The Copa.
Yeah.
I don't think Gavi deserved to. If you look, Gavi had a great season. He broke into the Spanish first 11 last year. I'm sorry, Spanish first 11 and Barcelona first 11. So props to him
and
on that.
And both his debut for Spain was so good. I don't remember against who.
But you've also got in that list, Bukayo Saka was 8th. How
That's a joke.
was Saka 8th?
That's a joke that he
and
was 8th.
And then Musiala, I think had a better season.
Probably should have won it. I mean, to me, it was between Musiala and Bellingham.
Yeah.
That was to me the two. I mean, and Camavinga came second. I think Camavinga coming second, like, not to say he's not a talent. I think he's going to be amazing. Yeah. He's already so good.
But he didn't really get a whole lot of game time.
No, and I think it also has to do with that whole, like, oh, he was 18 when he joined Madrid, and he's putting some sort of shift. So, like, that's impressive in itself, but you shouldn't really just give a player, like, it's not his choice. Real Madrid signed him. Like, Real Madrid went out to get him, and he signed and stuff. But
I think they just give it to a bit of a hot shot, someone who's...
Yeah. And Gavi, I think, like, because Pedri won it last year, Gavi wins it this year. Like, I don't know, maybe there's just some
bias to the Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean, they were saying if Musiala's name was like Musi and he was Spanish, he probably would have won it.
Musi. Yeah, probably.
The Messi region on FIFA.
Yeah, Musi. I think that's all we had to say.
Yeah, really, nothing else to say other than football won.
We're actually happy about this one. Who would have thought?
Let's get into the
top 3
robberies.
Yeah, just in 1 second, we'll be right back with our top 3 players that we think should have won a Ballon d'Or in their lifetime and didn't.
Stay tuned. All right, so now we're going to get on to our 3 players, different players, for my list and your list, that we think deserve to maybe win a Ballon d'Or in their career. I think we've taken a little bit of a different approach. I've gone more for like a player in a specific season. I think you've gone more just like player as a career.
I've gone for a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's begin with my number 3 player that I think deserves Ballon d'Or. Bit controversial as a City fan. I'm going to say Virgil van Dijk in 2019.
When Messi won.
When Messi won it. And not just because Van Dijk was literally the best defender in the world that year. He was untouchable.
Well, he was instrumental in winning them the Prem that year.
No, that was Champions League year.
They won the Champions League.
The Champions League that year. So they came second in the Premier League by a point.
They were tight with City that year.
97 points. So that's, which I think, like, what is it? City 100, City 98, Liverpool 97 are the 3 highest totals ever.
Yeah.
Insane that Liverpool didn't win. I think 97 points wins you the league every single year except 2, when City had 100 and we had 98.
Yeah.
So that's insane. They only lost 1 game, not overall, but in the league that year to Man City. And they won the Club World Cup. I'm pretty sure they probably won the Super Cup. He had a goal and an assist against Bayern in the Champions League, which is kind of nuts for a defender. He was the UEFA Player of the Year, the PFA Player of the Year, Premier League Player of the Year, UEFA Defender of the Year, and was in the FIFA Pro 11 of the year. So he had all the accolades, and I think personally it was a weak year for Messi to win it. Like, Van Dijk probably doesn't win that Ballon d'Or, or doesn't deserve that Ballon d'Or in any other year. But that year, Messi was not as good as he usually was. No. Ronaldo with Juventus came 3rd. So that just tells you, like, because it's not that Ronaldo wasn't good with Juventus, but obviously he wasn't anywhere near the player he used to be. So I think that Van Dijk really, and I think, if I'm not wrong, it was the closest margin between 1st and 2nd place ever.
I think it was very tight.
It was like, what, 5 votes or something that Messi won it for? So I think, personally, I think Van Dijk, like, he would have been the first defender since Cannavaro to win it in 06. I think he deserved that Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, I remember that one quite clearly, because I was a big advocate for Van Dijk winning.
Yeah,
not just because he's Dutch, but yeah. Not just because he's Dutch, but yeah, he had an incredible season. Was just so... You really have a player in the defense or in the goalkeeping position that makes as big of a difference as he did that year.
Yeah, there's very few that have that impact.
Yeah, have that sort of impact. And I think you saw it again this weekend, the impact that he can have.
When he's on his level, like... And I think that year there was also the whole, like, oh, Van Dijk's never been dribbled past this year, which, like,
that was a big stat, but it's actually not that important. Stat. Yeah.
No, when you think about it, no, because, like, you can just let someone run all the way at you into the box, and if they pass it off and you concede a goal, it's like, well, he didn't dribble past me.
Got him.
What a game. Well,
there you go, statisticians. How about that? Played you. Conceded 10.
How good I am. How good am I? But Virgil van Dijk, 2019, deserved a Ballon d'Or. Was robbed. He's never winning it again, though.
I don't think he will. No. Unless Liverpool
he scores
make a miraculous comeback, the Dutch
final.
win the World Cup.
Yeah,
that sort of thing. And number 3, I've gone for a different approach. I've gone for Gianluigi Buffon.
Oof.
Goalkeeper.
That's
a
very,
goalkeeper.
A little controversial.
I mean.
Some would say goalkeepers are not players.
There are so many players that I could have put in this spot, and so many more players that I could have put on this list.
Mm-hmm.
But I went for Buffon. But yeah, other names that I could have put on this 3rd spot that I wanted to was Wesley Sneijder in 2010. Definitely could have won it.
Yeah.
Iniesta, Xavi.
They could have won it any year.
But the fact is, they were never going to win it, because if they played well, it meant Messi was playing well.
I think it meant Messi was playing better if those guys played well.
Usually played better. So I went for Buffon. I think he had a shot at it in 2006.
And, when his Italian teammate won it.
And Cannavaro ended up winning it. There's probably no other year apart from that where you could be like, Buffon should have won.
Yeah.
But yeah, just in terms of overall career, someone that had just a glittering career and is still around.
He's
still playing for Parma, I think.
Right? Second division right now,
I think
right?
So, yeah. I went for the sort of the whole career aspect for my number 3.
Enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
And yeah. So
that's as a little side question, let's not get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Would you pick Buffon or Casillas?
I wouldn't pick Casillas. If I was going to pick a different goalkeeper, it would be Manuel Neuer.
Okay. I think
Manuel Neuer could easily be on that list as well, because
2014 maybe he should have won.
But he's also, as a goalkeeper, he somewhat revolutionized that position in a way.
That's
like
true.
he became another defender as well as a goalkeeper,
and also sometimes like the first attacker, because he'd get the ball and ping the ball across to the winger, to Ribéry or Robin at the time, and they do something crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Buffon, like, good shout. I mean, he's had a great career.
Am I seeing right what you've got on your second spot?
Should I move on to the second spot?
Let's move, because I've just seen it and it's ridiculous.
So at number 2, I have Diego Milito. 2010 Inter. Okay, let's talk about it. So I think a lot of people, when you think 2010 Inter and you think Ballon d'Or robbery,
Sneijder.
your first thought is Wesley Sneijder, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you why you're wrong, okay? Diego Milito was robbed of a Ballon d'Or that year. So he joined Inter that year from Genoa. At this point, made a couple caps for Argentina. Nothing crazy. You know, a good striker. Nothing really spectacular. Just like a classic number 9, but, you know, wasn't lighting the world on fire.
This is just because he's Argentinian, isn't he?
No, but let me tell you why he deserves it. Let me tell you why he deserves it. Who do you have number 1? Chris Wood?
Winston Reid, baby. Winston Reid, 2010 World Cup, undefeated.
But, okay, so Milito, right? So he wasn't even included in the top 30 list that year for the Ballon d'Or.
That's maybe a bit of a...
That's a joke. He won the treble under Mourinho. He scored in every... So Inter, to win the treble, had to win their last game of the season, right? They won 1-0. Milito scored. Yeah, in the league. They beat Roma by 2 points that year. Milito scored against Siena. In the last game, they won it. They go to the Coppa Italia against Roma. Win 1-0. Diego Milito scores. They go to the Champions League final. Beat Bayern 2-0. Milito scores a brace. Ultimate clutch player. Scored in every final. Literally, without his goals, Inter are not treble winners. And they're not historic. His stats, 52 games, 30 goals, 8 assists. They're not ridiculous. But the Inter team was definitely the best team of the year. Like, I mean, they won the treble. Any team that wins the treble, you're the best team in the world. Messi won it that year, but I think that considering it was the best team in the world, and he was he the best player there? Maybe not, but he was the most clutch, and he was the most important player, you could say, to Inter's success. Because without his goals, Inter don't win anything. Like, they don't win the cup, they don't win the league, they don't win the Champions League.
Okay.
So that's why I would say Diego Milito.
Justification.
But only 2010. If we're going all career, like, of course, Diego Milito, like, it's nowhere near close. Even the career that, like, Buffon's had, not at all. But for a single year, I think he might deserve a shout.
Fair enough. And number 2, I've got a really obvious one, and that's Robert Lewandowski.
Yeah. Okay.
Robbed twice.
Yeah.
I think. Once because French football was like, we didn't finish our season, so
they were just petty. They were like, Mbappe should win it, but he can't. So
I know everyone else finished this season, but we didn't, so no Ballon d'Or for anyone. Fuck you. You know? It's like, and everyone else said, well, we finished our seasons. Lewandowski, I had a historic... They won the treble that year as well, right?
Yeah, they won the treble.
Won the treble that year, scored, I think, in the 50s or maybe 60 even
He
goals.
Definitely was in the 50s.
Yeah,
maybe
definitely in the 50s.
Maybe the 60s, but definitely the 50s.
Was on top of all things just an absolute menace.
He was insane.
You know, he was so
insane.
good.
That was when Robot Lewandowski started coming.
Yeah.
Like maybe a year before too, but that was when like Robot Lewandowski.
Lewandowski
came.
Yeah. So I think the fact that he didn't win it those years and that he still hasn't won it yet, and I think that his chance may now be gone. He may have 2-3 good years left in him, but he really, with the players that are coming up, you have to beat Haaland, you have to beat Mbappe, you have to beat all these young cats.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough for him to get one.
Wow, that's actually, I didn't ever think about that, but you're right. I don't think...
if Haaland continues the way he is, the next year's Ballon d'Or we can just write off.
I think Haaland would win it if I mean, he would be probably my early season prediction to win it. It's probably between him and Neymar, depends on PSG, how far they go. It's way too early, but... I would. Poor Lewandowski, huh?
Yeah,
poor Lewandowski. He definitely deserved it. I think he must go to the Barcelona museum and stare at Messi's Ballon d'Ors like day in and day out because he's like, you little tiny man stole so many from me.
Yeah, because I don't think Messi deserved that. Was it 2021?
Last year. Yeah. Lewandowski definitely should have won that one. And to talk about another striker who's definitely not going to win it ever.
No, he's done.
Now, because he's done. But who should have won is, I'm going to go for another South American striker. But This one's not Argentinian. I'm going for Luis Suarez.
I think this is you wouldn't even need to. You're going to, but you wouldn't even need to explain.
I
this
mean,
one.
and I specifically mean 15-16 Barcelona Suarez. Of course, this is the year after they won the treble, so I think like realistically the team was better the year before, of course. But he won the double. He was the top scorer in La Liga when Messi and Ronaldo were still kicking about, and like no, it wasn't like they were bad. They were still the best two players in the world at the time. He scored 40 in the league. He scored 59 in total that year.
Wow.
He won the Club World Cup. He won the Super Cup. He was, in my opinion, the best player in the world that year. And you could even argue, I mean, he obviously didn't have the success, but the year that he had at Liverpool where he scored 31 goals and had like 15 assists or something like that, playing with Sturridge up top, he was maybe the best player in the world at that time too.
Oh, he was
Ridiculous.
those
So I
years,
think
yeah.
that like for a striker who scored so many goals, he's won so much, it's just like he falls victim to the Messi Ronaldo era, because I think if they don't exist, he's definitely winning that Ballon d'Or in 16, which I think Ronaldo won for winning the Euros, and which fair enough. He also won the Champions League. Like you can't knock him for his success, but I think that Suarez definitely deserves one.
Yeah, I think overall as well, I think Luis Suarez is probably an underrated player.
Yeah.
And we're gonna look back in 20 years and say, wow, what an absolute amazing player.
Yeah, he just eats defenders.
Yeah.
Both literally and like
Yeah, he's gonna be remembered for more reasons than one. Let's just say that.
not just the Ballon d'Or snubs.
Yeah, no, I think he's one of the best strikers of all time, and I think in 20 years we're going to look back on it and say, with a lot of these players that have lived in the Messi, Ronaldo era, that like you look back and go, how did these players not win a Ballon d'Or? Because there hasn't been a period in football where it's been so dominated by two players,
guys,
you know. So I think there's a lot of players that top players that have gonna be missing that accolade.
I mean, like for sure. I mean, if you just look at like guys like Kevin De Bruyne, definitely probably won't win one. I mean,
yeah, because now he's just gonna be assisting Haaland. He's gonna get 60 goals, and they'll be like, we got to give it to Haaland.
Like Salah, he's dropping off a little bit. He could have probably had a chance, but isn't gonna win it. But anyways, let's get to your number one. Who's
my
your number
one? Is Thierry Henry.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I have nothing
think
against it.
this is when I found out that he hadn't won a Ballon d'Or, it shocked me to my core. It's like, how can someone that good and that memorable and sort of that iconic? Yeah, that's the word that I needed. There is, how have they not won a Ballon d'Or?
Crazy.
And the answer is absolute robbery.
Yeah.
So in 2003 is the one that I've highlighted. I think he also got robbed in 2006, if I'm not wrong.
Could be.
Yeah. But in 2003, the Ballon d'Or went to Pavel Nedved.
Who, first of all, before we get into it, like, I only knew that man was a person because of FIFA, because he had a legend card or an icon card. Like, I've never heard of Pavel Nedved in my life before.
No.
Thierry Henry, I think I was 10 years old and I knew who Thierry Henry was. Like,
exactly. But in that 2003 season, Henry scored 32 and assisted 28. So he's got 60 goal involvements. And you're probably thinking, 32 goals, 28 assists. Messi put up bigger numbers than that. Yes, of course he did. But this is what he was up against that year. Nedved scored 14 and assisted 13.
that's a joke.
Like, I don't know if Juve won the Champions League that year or something. I don't think they did.
I think they went to the final and they lost to Milan in penalties.
But 03, is that the Invincible season?
03-04, yes. So it would start in 03 and end in 04.
I mean, that's just nuts. Like, how
Invincible, over 20 assists in the Premier League that year.
Absolutely insane.
Robbed. I think also, 06, I mean, like, he got to the Champions League final with Arsenal, got to a World Cup final with France.
Yeah.
It's insane that he's never, like, the guy who, in my opinion, is almost unanimously considered the greatest Premier League player of all time. Almost unanimously. Like, I think it's, I don't know. We can get.
I mean,
into
now,
later,
we that's another
whole other
segment.
Episode,
But and I think that's why he's at number one for me, is because he's so iconic, and he's had these singular years where, he's just been
because some
clearly
players
been
like
robbed.
they're so good, but then they never have the one outstanding. Like
Yeah.
they're just consistently elite, but
Consistently
they're
good,
not
yeah.
like 1 year where they're literally like, I don't know, the best player in the world. But you're right, Henry had those best player in the world type seasons,
Yeah.
plus the the elite consistency of doing it every year for Arsenal and then for Barcelona too.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was definitely robbed of a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah. But that makes up our list.
Honorable mention: Antoine Griezmann probably deserves one as well.
Let's not get into honorable mentions, because if Antoine Griezmann is an honorable mention, then I have lists of people that I reckon,
Antoine Griezmann, he definitely deserved one. There was 1 year, I don't really remember, 2018 when France won the World Cup. I think he deserved to win that Ballon d'Or over Modric, and like outright, like without Messi or Ronaldo, with Messi and Ronaldo being alive and playing football, Antoine Griezmann deserved that Ballon d'Or. And I can't believe I didn't put him in my list because I just remembered.
We're done with this segment. We're going to end on that monstrosity of a take. We'll be right back with the previews for next week.
Griezmann for Heisman. For Heisman?
No way.
For Ballon d'Or.
All right, guys, welcome back to our last segment for today. A little preview of the games to come this weekend. First off, Chelsea versus Man United at the Bridge.
Good game, huh?
I'm
excited.
I am nervous.
Yeah. Don't really know what to make of this game, if I'm honest. I'm a little stuck with what I think about it.
Well, in terms of like a prediction.
Yeah, and just in general, like I would say Chelsea's probably playing better. I mean, since Potter joined, they're unbeaten. They've won their last 5.
I think all clean sheets as well.
I think they've conceded twice. They've played 6 matches, scored 13, conceded twice. He's getting the best out of Mason Mount, which honestly, at what point are we gonna stop pretending that Mason Mount is not an elite level football player, because he's such a good football player. It's 4th v 5th, which is also quite interesting.
Yeah.
But let's get your thoughts into it. I mean, you're the resident United fan.
Yeah, so I haven't really watched Chelsea that much this season. I did watch a couple games from them. I saw Conor Gallagher score an absolute beauty. But other than that, I haven't really looked at their play that much, but obviously I watch just about every Man United game. And I'll bring up this weekend, we played Newcastle, 0-0 draw at home. And yeah,
I wasn't impressed.
I wasn't impressed either. Yeah. There were moments, especially we started off really well. We had 15 minutes at the start of the game where we played some really nice football, some really intricate passing, and playing out of the back as well. And I watched those first 15 minutes and I was like, hey, let's go. But then what seems to happen is we like concede a chance or two and the confidence just seems to go, which really sucks. But I think towards the end of the game, Rashford, you remember that chance?
Header.
Yeah.
Wow. The ball
we were
by
watching this one together as well.
We had like
two screens on.
Yeah, 2 screens. Yeah.
But Newcastle also had chances to bury us in that game as well. Yeah. So it doesn't exactly instill confidence in me for this game. I think we have to find a way to get Rashford, and this is probably tactically this is probably way wrong, but I think we should find a way to try get Rashford and Ronaldo in the starting 11.
Really, you think Ronaldo should start? Because I would remove Sancho. And I would have...
Sancho has not impressed me at all.
No, I would have Rashford on the left, Antony on the right, Martial up top, and Bruno as a 10.
Martial up top.
Yeah, because he looks... It seemed like in preseason, at least, like, of course, preseason was ages ago, so, like, it's not like it's very relevant, but he seemed to be the guy that Ten Hag liked the most up top. And I think it's because it's his link-up play, he presses, he's also a good finisher, like, he's a good goal scorer. Like, I think that would be your best 4 up top, and then probably Casemiro and Eriksen, but it seems like he still likes McTominay and Eriksen. But
yeah, it's a tough one. But I think I would like to see how Rashford, Ronaldo, Antony would work.
Yeah, okay.
Because Rashford, when he came on in that game, created a lot of chances,
He changed the
but
game.
just wasn't able to put them away.
Yeah.
So
And Ronaldo would have put that header away. We
That's
did
the
talk
thing.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Ronaldo would have buried that header.
Had the cross come from Rashford into Ronaldo, it's a goal.
Yeah.
Like it was, it was. You were like, I can see Ronaldo scoring that.
Oh,
like,
Ronaldo! First of
9
all, he
times
would
out of
have
10.
jumped like he would have hit it. He probably would have volleyed it in the air because he can jump like 5 meters in the air.
Exactly.
Or something.
So that game doesn't exactly give me confidence going into this one. A revitalized Chelsea, who seem to be playing quite well.
Yeah, they won 2-0 at the weekend against Villa.
They've beaten the Italian champions twice, both clean sheets.
Very convincing.
Very convincing games. Yeah. So clearly they're on the up.
Yeah, Potter's making them click, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. I'm glad that he's not flopping because of all the hype and stuff.
I mean, I think this is his first real time to prove himself, though.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's true. He would maybe have another.
And it's probably
shot,
the I would say the easiest of the big six teams to go up against right now.
Chelsea.
No, United.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then prediction.
At the Bridge, I'm gonna go.
It's a bit of a fortress, the Bridge.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1 Chelsea.
Okay, I'm going 2-0 Chelsea. I think their defense is.
I was gonna say either 2-0 or 2-1. So,
it could honestly go either way, and I think it's good because it's kind of a test of like the up and comers between like Ten Hag. Although I keep thinking Ten Hag's super young, but I think he's older than Guardiola. Actually, he's like 50 something.
No, that man can't be 50.
Yeah, he's old. He's old. Well, not old, but just older than expected.
50, like.
He's older than expected. It's kind of like the up and comers of like
the Premier League.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't think Ronaldo's going to start this game personally. Like,
not because of I mean, he didn't play badly against Newcastle.
No, I just think that the team looks so different when Ronaldo plays. Because when Ronaldo plays, I really feel like it's basically like, let's make Ronaldo score. And on one hand, I get it because like he's definitely by far your best finisher. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, but United look so much better when as a team when Ronaldo isn't there. Like, it just seems like when Ronaldo is there, it's like 10 players trying to set up that one player up top. Whilst when Ronaldo isn't there, it's like all 11 play together.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, it is also a big game. Maybe you do start him just because it's like Chelsea away, like it's Ronaldo. So.
But we got Tottenham tomorrow night as well.
Tottenham tomorrow night as
well. Which we're not going to cover.
Quick prediction? I don't know where it is. At Old Trafford?
By the time we release this, it's not going to be tomorrow night.
No.
I think it is at Old Trafford, yeah.
Let's say something great. Let's say 3-0 United.
3-0?
Yeah, you guys spank Spurs.
I'm going to go 2-1 United. I reckon we got Spurs.
I think you guys got
Spurs are shy.
They're not. They're not interesting, are they? But let's move to a huge game.
Roma-Napoli.
It's a big game in Italy. We got 4th versus 1st.
Yeah.
And who would have thought Napoli would be first?
No, I don't think anyone. But looking at them now, it's they're flying. Like they're so good. They're so fun to watch as well. Like every time they play in the Champions League, I like to watch them play. Yeah. I don't get around to watching a lot of Serie A, I'll admit that.
No, me neither.
Especially not live. I'll watch the highlights occasionally. I think they pop up on YouTube. But yeah, Napoli have been killing it this
42
season.
42 goals in 14 games.
42 goals?
In 14 games in all competitions.
Wow. Yeah, I think I've got 25 goals in the Serie A.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's...
Yeah, because they've scored a lot in the Champions League. Like they beat Liverpool 4-0, they beat Ajax 6-1, they beat Rangers 3-0, and then they beat Ajax 4-0 or 4-1 at San Siro. So there's heaps of goals. And I think like what's been the most fun is the finding of Kravaklichka.
I've got the same guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his name either.
So I'm going to call him what the Napoli fans have called him, which is Cravadonna after Maradona.
Yeah. Well, he is. I watched.
So good,
I saw his stats today, and I was like, who is this kid? So he's got 7 goals, 6 assists in all competitions. Off 13 starts. I think he's 21 years old.
He's 2001. February, I think, because I saw February 19th, I was like, oh, I'm 10 days older than him. Nope, I'm a whole year and 10 days older than him.
So, and he's a Georgian, I think he plays either attacking mid or left winger he plays as well. And I was like, wow, 7 goals, 6 assists.
Yeah.
Top scorer
And-
for Napoli. I was like, I've
yeah.
never heard of him.
No.
So I went and watched his highlights, and he is so
He's
good
so
on the
good,
ball.
isn't he? He's so
and
fun to watch
He has
play, man.
everything, yeah.
And he's also, it's his first year ever at a top 5 league.
He was. That's what I was surprised about as well. I was like, how did they find him? So he was playing in the Russian Premier League with Rubin Kazan. Is that how you say that?
Yeah,
Rubin Kazan?
Rubin Kazan, I think.
Yeah. And he only had 2 goals and 4 assists for the whole season.
What?
They picked him up for 10 mil. They picked him up for 10 mil,
Napoli,
and now he's
right?
their star player. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane how good this kid is. Like he and I think what's the most sad about this sort of Napoli insanity that's going is that this summer they lost Insigne, the last guy from Naples that played for Napoli. They lost Dries Mertens, their all-time top goal scorer. And they lost Koulibaly, who's been their best, like a rock at the back. So they lost technically like their 3, I wouldn't say best last season, but most recognizable players.
Yeah.
And they've been so much better. And I think it's like, yes, Krabadonna.
It's the youngsters
Well,
coming through.
Krabaklichka.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep calling him Krabadonna because I can't say his name. Zambo Anguissa, if I'm not wrong, he used to play for Fulham. He is insane. He wears 99 in the midfield. Tall guy. He is so good on the ball.
In the
and
midfield,
Dombele they also have now.
I think in the midfield you got to highlight Zielinski. Zielinski is, I think he's their second top scorer.
Oh wow!
And
he's 2 against Ajax.
Yeah, he's been controlling the midfield for a couple years at Napoli now, and he's a really. Whenever I've seen him play, he plays really well, and he's capable of scoring absolute beauties as well. He's had a couple of beauties down the year. So yeah, in terms of Napoli, I think they've got this one covered. But I also want to touch on
Let's
Roma
talk about
for a little
Roma.
bit.
I think that they've been very up and down and very unlucky.
For the
I mean,
last
now
couple
they've lost
years,
Dybala as well.
Yeah,
to injury, which
he
is
was their top
huge.
scorer.
Yeah,
Do you want to take a guess at who's their second top scorer?
Chris Smalling.
Yeah, you already know.
I know that one because I saw. I mean, I didn't know it, but I saw that Chris Smalling has either the same or more. No, I think one more goal than Tammy Abraham in Serie A this year.
Yeah,
because he's on
got
3 and Tammy's on 2.
Yeah. So
I don't know. They're playing in Rome at the Stadio Olimpico.
always a tough place to go.
Always tough.
Yeah.
But Roma, like, they've only scored 13 goals this year, which is characteristic. Like, it's usual for Mourinho's side. I think it's been 9 games in the season, if I'm not wrong, and they've scored 13. But they've also conceded 9, which is very unlike Mourinho.
But they've also got higher expected goals. I think I read something like 20 expected
Really?
goals.
And
So
they're on 13 only.
they have underperformed, and they do have. I didn't realize Andrea Bellotti
Me too.
is a Roma player.
Yeah. But is he even playing?
He hasn't. I don't think he's played a whole lot of games. I think
Yeah.
Tammy Abraham. I think Mourinho quite likes Abraham.
I mean, he was so good last year.
He was
to
really
be fair.
good
He was
last
so
year.
good.
Yeah, but he's yet to start firing this year.
Yeah.
But if he does, then Roma are, and definitely in with a Champions League shout this year.
I mean, they're top 4. Yeah, for sure. Especially
Yeah.
with the way that other teams have just dropped off. Like, Inter's dropped off a lot. Juventus has dropped off a
I
lot.
think Inter will recover. Juve, no. I don't think they're going to come back for a Champions League spot, but I think Inter will recover to a Champions because you still have Atalanta. I don't think they've got the steam to go all the way. this
Yeah, they're
year.
still fun to watch. Like, they have been
Yeah.
for like a couple of years now. But,
Yeah.
yeah, do they have the squad depth? I
No.
don't know. I think, actually, what worries me, I think Inter would pick it up. But actually, I think Juve will also pick it up. Because I think once Pogba is back, they will get so much creativity in the midfield. And I think Pogba's going to come back
So
hungrier
he
than ever.
comes back for 2 games and then he's gone.
And then he's
again.
injured again.
Yeah.
But I hope not. Like, I think, yeah, I don't know. I think Juve, I really hope Napoli win the league. Not just because of Napoli.
Oh yeah, I would love to.
Not just
to see
because of
win the
Napoli
league.
and the story of Napoli with Maradona, renaming the stadium, blah, 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 but also for Spalletti. Like, I think Spalletti is such an underrated coach. He's been, like, easily one of the best Italian coaches of the last, I don't know when he started coaching, but let's say decade. And he's just never really been able to get over the hump. And I think he's always performed admirably well at every club that he's been at. But he always gets sacked because, I don't know, clubs have big ambitions and stuff.
Yeah.
I really hope Spalletti can pull it off. Like, I hope.
Yeah.
And I think considering how well this Napoli team are playing, still undefeated, I think it's
Looking
just
really
them
good, yeah.
and Atalanta, the two
Atalanta's still
left
nipping at the
undefeated.
heels, yeah.
The last two undefeated teams in Europe's top 5 leagues.
So,
Prediction?
score prediction.
I'm going Napoli 2-0. I mean, sticking with the 2-0s today.
I'm going to stick with the 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 Napoli.
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. I
But
guess
that is the end of the episode,
end of
unfortunately.
episode 4.
Yeah.
We don't really have anything but ball segment section now.
No, I think we've taken up enough of our
People's
viewers'
times,
time as
yeah.
well. And I hope everyone enjoyed. Remember, like, subscribe.
Share it with all your friends.
Yeah, share it with everyone that you can. Hopefully there's still someone watching at this point in the video.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just us.
I think it's just us, yeah. Anyway.
If you got this far in the video, comment below Antoine Griezmann 2018 Ballon d'Or. If you got this far in the video.
There you go. All right, we will see you guys again next week. It's been a pleasure.
Peace.
Solid, dude. Solid.